Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host, Jennifer. We are late today. Hopefully this video gets loaded on Monday. If not, we're just a day late and we're just going to have to process and deal with that. Now, the reason we're late and the reason there was no video on Friday, I told you guys I was taking my niece to college to drop her off. So this is going to be today. We're going to do a vlog. I'm going to update you guys on this weekend a little bit. I'm going to leave some details out just because there's always drama when dealing with my older sister, not baby Paprika. And then I'm going to round out the video and I'm going to show you what I've been working on, and we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. We're alone in the house today. We just got the dogs here with us. Oreo and Scarlet are laying in the living room, but I am positive that at some point they will come in here because I haven't fed them breakfast yet and they are going to want to eat. And Oreo has this wonderful habit. She comes in and taps me, and she does it with her face. So she goes tap, 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 tap. And we're getting shipping notifications that we have Premier Yarns coming today. Finally have my chair back in my office. Every time I would bring my chair back into the office, because Mr. Cinnamon's chair is right there. It has like some of the stuff I want to show you this week. And I was having to use his chair because my niece has been here so much that she was using my chair at the dinner table every night, because we do sit down as a family almost every night and have a home cooked meal that I cook. Although I've been having a hard time cooking lately because just with so much going on around here. So let's talk about college. This is the first time, obviously, that I've ever had to take a kid to college. And I'm going to say I'm probably going to cry in this episode. I am going to try really hard to hold it together. You guys know that I'm emotional, and just with everything that has been happening, yeah. I'm also going to say I'm really tired. Because when you have things build up and build up and build up and build up, and then it just settles down, like suddenly, I'm getting emails and text galore, so I'm also easily distracted today. I am requiring myself a small glass of caffeine today because I'm tired. When I got her to college and I felt like I could breathe, I kind of crashed. I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. I feel like I could sleep for a week and still be tired because just so much. All right, so we're going to start with Mr. Cinnamon is an angel. Now, he is not a perfect man by a long shot. He gets on my nerves incessantly. However, Pumpkin Spice, which is her now nickname, Hermione, my niece. You guys have nicknamed her Pumpkin Spice. She loved it. As a matter of fact, she changed some of her social media to be Pumpkin Spice because she's also, she's born in October. She's a Halloween baby. So the fact that she got nicknamed by one of you as Pumpkin Spice, she geeked out. Okay, so from henceforth, we will be referring to her as Pumpkin Spice, but it is Hermione or Nini, my niece, my oldest niece. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Totally, like, lost it. So Pumpkin Spice. Let's see, what was I saying? Oh, she is not blood related to Mr. Cinnamon. Obviously, she's my sister's daughter. However, Mr. Cinnamon has been around since before she has been born, so like he's always been in her life. Without question, if they ever needed us, he would drop everything. He would step in. He made sure that they always were taken care of. He never questioned it when they needed to live with us, either time. He financially supported them and my sister at times for years. He's the reason she's in college. My husband. I'm not going to go into detail about her childhood or my sister or the bad choices that my sister makes in choosing partners and pretty much not caring about her kids. We're not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that because that I will explode. When when your sister hurts someone you love so much, there are times I just want to hurt her. So, we're going to leave it at that, and that's the last we're going to talk about my sister, kinda. Okay, so, he has busted his butt this year, getting her all of the financial things in line for her, getting all of her applications filled out for all the colleges she applied to, researching, watching videos, reading articles, finding the perfect school for what she wants to study. Early childhood development and education. She is going to be a teacher. So, Mr. Cinnamon, busting his butt pretty much by himself. I'm not smart enough to do what he has done, and I know that, so I very much leave that to him. And my mascara is running. So I left it to him, and we had a lot of forcing my sister to do what she needed to do in order to fill out forms, and sometimes we had to fill out the forms on her behalf, with her permission, of course, but just to get my niece into college, because she is not legally ours. We cannot legally fill out the paperwork without parental consent, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Cinnamon has done all of this for months and months. He has just been on top of everything. Because Mr. Cinnamon has several college degrees. He is very experienced in financial aid, and he got her scholarships and grants and everything that he could to get her as much money as she could to help pay for college and all that. Because she was an honor student in high school. She got several accolades. She's very smart, very determined, very strong-willed. She's my kid. So, if it wasn't for my husband, Pumpkin Spice would not be in college today. And he did it without a single thank you from either of her parents. Although the dad is not really in the picture and hasn't been for a long time. Not a single thank you. We got arguments, we got fights, we got dragging their feet. We never got a thank you. So I thanked Mr. Cinnamon on behalf of my niece. I know she's grateful, but she's also 17. She'll be 18 in October. So all of that, it's been months just leading up. And then some issues happened with her and her mother, and her mother made a choice that really, really hurt my niece. Like, actually broke her heart. And we knew Friday that it was just going to be us taking her to college. And so I went, and while my sister was at work, I moved my niece out of her mother's house. And she came here for one night. So she technically lived with me legally for one night. Although she's been here for months. But her stuff has still been at her mother's house. And I'm trying really hard not to go into depth and detail to tell you how bad it really has been. But getting her moved out of that house, I took a deep breath, and I felt like for the first time in months I could breathe. Because I knew she was safe and she was with me. And I knew this child is going to do big things. She is going to do big things. So, Saturday we drove her to college. We packed our van with children and stuff. And we drove them. We dropped her off, and we got her settled into her room. And it was so exciting. I should not have put mascara on today. Or at least put on my waterproof mascara. We got her settled in her room. Her room is so cool. Like, I've never been to college. I never went to college. I chose not to. I hated school so much. Like, I had trauma that happened to me. I just hated school. It was never an option in my mind to go to college. I just could not. But a part of me is jealous because she is on this grand adventure, and I keep telling her that. You are on this grand adventure and it has just started. And there's so much exciting things for you. And I'm trying to encourage her to like come out of her box because she's very structured. The trauma she has experienced has made her very structured. It's the only way she can control her environment. So she has like mild OCD issues to where she has to control the environment around her. She constantly has to be in a state of clean organization, which I have tried over the years to work with her to help her to use that as a tool, but not to lean on it, which has not been easy. Well, we got through her really strong impulses to, when she was little, we would take her to the store, and if things weren't lined up on the shelves, she would stop and line them up. And like, instead of playing with toys, she would categorize them by color, and she would categorize them and line them up. And they always had to be in an organization state. And it's because her life was chaotic, so she needed order somewhere. And so I used some techniques that I weren't sure were going to work, and they worked. And I would go behind her and I would mess it up. And then I would make her walk away. And she would get so frustrated. But it worked with her. It really did. I mean, she still has the organization cleaning, but to be a clean person is not necessarily a bad thing as long as she's like not doing it obsessively. I'm not saying that is a technique to use at all, but that's what worked with her, and I tried lots of things. So we got her into her room. Everything fit, which I was glad about. She already met her roommate ahead of time. She got to actually choose a roommate. And these girls found each other, and they like each other so far, even though her roommate is messy, what she said. But her being as clean as she is and as organized as she is, I'm sure messy is just, she's a teenager. So I'm just worried. I hope she eats. I really hope she eats. And it's a co-ed dorm, and she doesn't have a lot, like, she was on lockdown at her mom's house, and so she doesn't have a lot of experience around boys other than like sneaking behind her mother's back, which I probably shouldn't say in case my sister watches this video, but I guess it's too late now. She's grown and out of the house. But the dorm she's in is very cute and well decorated, and there's like all these cool like chair areas where you can go sit and hang out. And I was like, I would be sitting there, and I would be hanging out down there, and I would be doing this over there, and it was just neat. I still worry about her. I worry that I taught her enough to be safe. I taught her enough to do the right thing, but I've really been testing her the past couple of weeks while she's been with me, and just letting her do things and giving her like limits, or letting her set her own limits. And she went out with this boy, and I totally vetted him ahead of time. Like, I made sure he was a nice guy. I totally quizzed his butt, and he was honest with me even about like bad stuff, which I totally respected him for that, because I already knew the answer, but I was asking because I wanted to see what his response would be. I was testing the kid. And I told them before they left, they were going to a wedding. I was like, no drinking. And she came home at 9, even though I told her she didn't have to be home at 11. It's because they were drinking at the wedding, and she felt uncomfortable and chose to come home. So, again, she's 17. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. She proved herself to me. She didn't have to come home. She could have snuck and drank. I wouldn't have checked her. Because I'm trying to give her the freedom to make the right choices on her own based on the knowledge that I have already put into her head. So I have a lot more hope after letting her have a little bit of freedoms, and I have hope that she's going to be okay. And I told her, call me anytime, day or night, does not matter. I will answer the phone. Call me, call what she calls Chris, or she calls Mr. Cinnamon Uncle Daddy, which she doesn't do it around her friends because that's weird to call someone Uncle Daddy, but he's been her dad. He really has. No questions asked. He has loved her, and I've told her several times, he might love you more than I do. Yeah. So, got her settled. We drove home. It was hard driving home. But while we were driving home, I'm probably going to pop up a video right here. I was working on, I needed to keep my hands busy. I was making this spiral thingy. Hopefully I put the video in. I tend to forget. And I was winging it. I have seen them all over TikTok, these spiral things. And I had some, I think I put it up. I had some glitter yarn. It's Spangle yarn from Premier Yarns. I've used it in the past for shawls. And I used it to make the spiral thing. I'm like, oh, it'll catch the light. It'll be so beautiful. But after working with it, first of all, the yarn it was pulling because it has an elasticity to it. So it was stretching itself out, and it was breaking the fibers of the glittery strands on top, which was frustrating to me. And then because it was stretching out too much while I was trying to work it tight, it became floppy and it's not stiff like it's supposed to be. But I was working on that on the way home because I needed to keep my hands and my mind busy so I didn't like cry a lot. And I wasn't crying because I was sad. I was like so many emotions go through your head when you drop a kid off at college. I was really upset with my sister for not being there and choosing an attic partner over her daughter. I was really mad about that. I kept thinking maybe she'll show up. Maybe she will up here. Maybe. And then she didn't. And I was mad at that. And I was mad that she had to go through this without her mother. I was not mad that I had to step in because that was a great joy to me. But I was also like, I was worried about her. I was like, I hope she eats. Like, I know she gets nervous. I'm going to miss her because she's been here so much this year. And we have kind of like switched from parent relationship to adult parent relationship to where you just talk and you like the relationship I had with my mom, you know, it kind of switched to that, and I relish that. I relish that. And I told her before we drove her to college, I was like, thank you for the past couple months because that has been a gift to me. So that's why I've been crying. And also, like, Juju is 2 years away from graduating and going to college. So that's scary to me. And she has discovered, like, she really, really loves doing her beading business. Like, that is awesome. And she really likes, and she keeps bragging on herself, which I'm totally cool with. She's bragging on herself that I know how to make my own money. Like, I know how, if I need to make money real quick. Like, when you grow up in the environment, I personally grew up in the ghetto, like, we call it a side hustle. So when I put stuff in my Etsy shop, that's my side hustle. That's my side business. That's my side cash. I know that if an emergency comes up, if I throw some stuff in the shop to sell, I will have a return from it, mostly guaranteed. And she's kind of experiencing that same thing. So it's like, she's proud of herself. She got a side hustle because the kids at her school don't even really have jobs. We live in an environment where they're like spoiled kids, you know, and a lot of the kids just, oh, mommy and daddy bought me a car, and mommy and daddy, and then they're bragging like, oh, look, I got a car. Instead of saying mommy and daddy bought me a car, which is the fact, oh, I got a car. They're trying to floss, you know, like, you can't floss on your mom's money. You just can't do it. If you don't know what floss is, it's kind of like being a show off. So anyway, she's, you know, she's actually got enough credits in school to graduate early, and I have asked her not to do that because I'm not ready, and I don't think she is either. Like, emotionally, she is very antisocial, and she needs to be more social before she's let out loose into the world. And so I'm trying to work with her on that before she graduates high school. But part of her classes, she has worked with her counselor at school she wanted to do a career training at her school. And so the counselor was like talking to her, like, well, what are your interests? And she's like, I don't know, you know, but she's always had an interest in culinary arts, cooking, baking, just all of that. And when she was little, she used to want to grow up and be a chef, and then that kind of faded away. And then she's like, well, maybe I want to do this, and maybe I want to do that. And I was like, you have time to decide. It's not, nothing is ever set in stone. Like, you get halfway through college and change your mind. That is, nothing is like forced on you ever. And so she started taking a culinary arts class, and the chef is like really, he's a cool guy. And I've already talked to him because I had explained that she is starting to show signs of gluten intolerance. So, I mean, she's been showing the signs for a while, but it's getting progressively worse recently. And we're narrowing it down currently, which I hate that she has inherited my bad stomach issues. She has inherited a lot of like the health issues that I have that I wish I didn't pass down to her. But they were passed down to me, and then they were passed down to my mother. So this is like a really bad genetic thing. Like, it's just horrible. Anyway, so that is another reason I was emotional, is because now she's like planning her future. And she's talking about going to school for culinary studies, which I'm totally okay with. She got all excited. She was thinking about starting a food truck. Because she was like, well, I don't know if I want to own a restaurant, because she watches like Kitchen Nightmares and stuff like that, where these people put all their money into like a restaurant and then they fail and then they lost millions of dollars of their own money. And she's like, I don't want to do that. I was like, you can always do a food truck. Like, food truck doesn't have any like high overhead. And there's a very successful business that was here, and he actually just decided to leave. It's McCoy's Barbecue in Fredericksburg. The guy is like, he could have had like a chain of restaurants had he chosen. He kept with his food truck, and he makes bank. He makes bank because he has such a loyal following because his food is so good. People throw money at him, I'm telling you. And he's only open part of the year. So, although he has decided to leave town, which is kind of sad. But I was like, you could totally do that. And then you could be like a gluten-free food truck, and like people would love that. I just know that would be a good idea, because it's not really that, popular out here. So we were talking about that, and she got really excited at that idea. But yeah, okay, enough of the crying, enough of the personal stuff. This video is going to be long. It really is. I hope you guys have a tall cup of coffee or whatever you're drinking this morning. I got my caffeine. Yeah. So I've been trying to make stuff. Crochet has been really hard for me. I should probably move Brunhilde over. She has one of my projects on her. Crochet has been hard on me just because so much is going on. Let me grab Brunhilde. Oh. Just dealing with, life, trying to get everything organized, and now I'm exhausted, so I can't even like think straight. So I showed you the twirly thing that I made. Let me get everything in one spot. I had to write it down because I knew that I would forget. I've been working on granny squares too still. When I go to bed at night, because things have been chaotic, I just keep the granny squares on my side table on my bedside table. And when I go to bed at night, if I feel like crocheting, I will crochet a granny square or 5, depending on how tired I am, because I haven't been sleeping real well either. And I just put them in the basket on my side table, and that's what's up there. But you're not going to see those. They're just granny squares, and I'm still just using those little pill bonbon things. And then, let's see. Spinner shawl, bags. Alright, I think I got everything. Okay, this beautiful shawl that Brunhilde is wearing. By the way, this is the Summer Breeze tank top. This is my tank top, but it's so pretty. Brunhilde has been wearing it. I just put a clip in the back because she is not a 4X, and she's an extra small, and I'm a 4X. So I just pinched her on the back. A lot of people think this is a dress. It fits me, but you're putting a big clothes on a skinny person. I just pinched it in the back so it looks like a form-fitting dress. This is just my Summer Breeze tank top. And then this, I gotta be careful when I turn her. She is really old, and she has a wrought iron base, and she has really loose And I can feel that they're loose. She has loose wing nuts underneath her. That's why she's wobbling so much. And sometimes her tightening thing that holds her on the pole will just loosen and she'll drop to the ground. And because she's wrought iron, it is very loud. So, anyway, this is a shawl that I made out of the Ciao Merino from Premier. And I don't think I kept the ball bands on my desk. I cleaned the other day and I think I threw them out. This is a Ciao Merino. I believe this is the color Thistle, and this looks gray, but it's actually blue. So it's the one I showed in the video. I will link that below if I remember. And the reason I worked this shawl up was because Creative Grandma did a review on this yarn. She didn't care for it, which is perfectly fine. But I had so many people like, well, Creative Grandma didn't like it. Well, Creative Grandma didn't like it. I'm like, okay, but I like it. I like it. It's okay that I like it. And so I was like, I better work up a swatch just so that my opinion is entirely well-rounded. So that, because yeah, you could like something in the hank and then pull it out and hate it, which has happened to me. And it has happened to me with Premier Yarn specifically. They had the yarn Allure. I cannot stand the yarn Allure. When it came out, I was so excited about it. I loved it. And I hated working with it. It was terrible to work with because it was so thin. But if you guys recall, when I showed this, I showed you it was a chain spun yarn, but it is a really thin chain spun yarn. And they recommended a small hook with it. And I said because it is so lofty and fluffy that I would use a bigger hook with it because I wanted it to stay fluffy looking and not pull the stitches tight. And a couple of you actually had said, well, chain spun is meant so you can see stitch definition. You're supposed to use a small hook. But I started off with a small hook, testing it. So up here, I think it was like a 4 or a 4.5 millimeter hook up here, and I did not enjoy that at all. I was fighting the yarn, and the chains were so loose and fluff, but when you're using a smaller hook, they pull tight. Yeah, I didn't weave in my end. I was showing this to Mr. Cinnamon. I'm gonna come in closer. You see how it's all light and fluffy right there? But when you work with it, it pulls kind of like that. So light and fluff, or it pulls tight. And there's a slight elasticity to it, like a stretch and pull, because it's chain spun. And so I was showing him, and his eyes glazed over. He had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, if you use a smaller hook, it pulls that fiber tight, and then you actually can get stuck in the chains with that smaller hook. So that's what was happening, and I was like, I don't like this at all. So halfway through, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, right off the bat, I threw this entire project in the garbage can. All of the yarn and this part, just this part right here, I was that far, and I threw in the garbage. I was like, I'm not working with this. It is irritating me. Because it started off nice, and then the more I worked, I was like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and I was getting frustrated. So I threw the whole thing in the garbage, and the following day I came back, because my garbage in my office is papers and wrappers, and there's not food items or anything, you know, nasty in there. It's just like office garbage, you know, papers and stuff. And so I was like, I felt bad, and I was like, no, I need to give this yarn another shot. And so I jacked up the hook size. You can see that the stitches start to grow and get bigger out this way, because I jacked it up to like a 6.5 millimeter hook. It went so fast and smooth after that. So when I tell you guys use a bigger hook with a difficult yarn, use a bigger hook with a difficult yarn. I don't care who says it's supposed to be a smaller hook. I don't care what the label says. I don't care what society as a whole says because it's chain spun. It needs to be, because no, it doesn't. Do not follow all the rules. Break the rules. The rules are meant to be broken. That is what makes life fantastic. Breaking rules. Break the dang rules. Because I was able to finish this in probably 2 hours. This first part right here where the granny stitches are, that took me like 4 hours. And then it went in the garbage can because I was not enjoying it. Moved up to a bigger hook. 2 hours and I finished all the rest of this. Now keep in mind, I am a fast crocheter. I know this. I'm not expecting you to do it that fast. This is not a competition by any means. Like, it's not. You do you. But see, this needs to be blocked desperately because of the chain construction and because I use smaller up here and bigger down here. It has a weird wonkiness to it. It needs to be blocked. It needs to be stretched so that these stitches open up a little more. So you can see the definition a little more. But all in all, it's beautiful. It smells very strongly of alpaca though. If you don't know what alpaca smells like, it smells kind of like hay. It smells like a barnyard, without the poopy smell. So if you walk into a barn and there's fresh laid hay or straw or whatever you call it, and the animals in there, that is what alpaca smells like to me. And as a matter of fact, because it was sitting outside, Brunhilde stays by my window. Because of that, the heat would come through when the sun is setting, because the sun sets on the side of my house, and it would warm up, and I would be in the other room and could smell the alpaca. So keep that in mind. If you don't like the smell, you're not going to like this yarn. I'm not going to buy more of this yarn, but just because if you hear my throat, I discovered working with this, and then I got some alpaca from Knitcrate. Every time it comes close to my face, I start getting itchy throat and start coughing, and yeah, and I don't know why. This is a new development. So I don't know why, but that's why I'm not going to buy more. I have no problem working with this again because it wasn't bad once I used a bigger hook. But that's what we have made. It does not have a pattern. It was just me doing what I do and just, I call it freeballing. I was freeballing it. I was just going with the flow, and I just do stitches where I want to do stitches. This is like a shell situation here. This is like a fillet situation. Mostly granny squares because I really wanted to be done with it. But yeah, that's my shawl. I'm glad it's done. I'm not keeping the shawl either. So, let's dress Brunhilde. And it's not really big enough for me to wear as a traditional shawl, and I don't do this. I don't wear my shawls like this. I have a bigger top area, and nothing lays right up there. It just doesn't. So I don't wear my shawls like this. I don't need to enhance that part of my body any further. All right, I'm going to show you the crocheting, then I'm going to show you the sewing that I've been working on, and then I will show you the knitting that I started. I don't remember if I showed you the hat I made. I'll bring this up here because I don't remember if I showed you that. I know that I posted it online, but I don't remember if I showed it. So that will go with the knitting. Okay, so then I pulled out, actually, sorry, Brunhilde. I made this in the car. This was very much a nervous Nelly project. So I was having anxiety. We were running errands. I needed something quick to work in the car. So I grabbed the bulkiest yarn that I possess. And this is I think it's a Bonnet cake that I got clearanced out at Tuesday morning. This is an entire cake. They don't go very far because it's a super bulky. And I just made like a little, keep in mind this was made for my body, not for this tiny little body, but it's just a little, I don't even know what you would call that. A cowlet, or like a mini poncho, or a neck warmer. This would be really nice if you put it underneath your jacket, and it would keep you warm up here in the cold weather. But of course it looks funky on her because she's extra small, and I did it to fit my body. So nothing spectacular. This is probably going to be one of those things that I donate just because I have no use for it. I just made it to keep my hands busy, and then I had enough to make one granny square left over from that. I know. So I made that. Didn't weave in the end. And that was just a busy project. That was just a keep me busy project. And then this looks so much better on her. You ever feel like your mannequins are just like giant Barbie dolls? I loved Barbies when I was little. I loved them. Then you can dress them up. And life size, it's like a life-size Barbie doll. Not my life, but my mom was this size for years and years and years. And I guess that's my mom's size. That looks terrible. Whatever. Okay, so anyway, moving on. And then after I made the spiral thingy and I was not happy with it because of the type of yarn that it was, I went back to the drawing board and I pulled out some of my scraps. And this is Bonnet premium yarn that I made socks out of. And I made another spiral. They're called wind spinners. If you want to know how to make these, I suggest using an acrylic yarn. And actually I had a whole conversation with one of you guys about this. She asked what kind of yarn she would use because some people are using cotton. I'm going to say from experience, because I live in the south of the United States and because it's always hot and the sun is really bright here. The sun bleaches stuff out way faster where I live than where I used to live in Michigan. So Michigan, I wouldn't have thought twice about using cotton outside. But here, I have made things for my flagpole outside in cotton. And within a month, they're just white. They're bleached out so much that they're white that I would suggest using acrylic. Because I think with acrylic fibers, more often, the color is in the fiber. The fiber itself is colored instead of just dyed. Whereas cotton is dyed. But I think the plastics are made colored before they're turned into yarn. So I think you have a longer shot of these staying colored in the sun. But I honestly wouldn't hang these in the sun. I would hang them in a shady spot anyway. But I will link the tutorial for this. I did not follow the tutorial. But there are several, like there's at least 10 that I found last night looking. The one that I watched was Ophelia Talks, and I will link her below for the tutorial for this. But again, I didn't follow her tutorial because I already know how to make spirals. But I did watch it because I wanted to give you guys a tutorial, so nobody was asking me to make a tutorial. So I was like, let's find one that I can link. So Ophelia Talks, her tutorial is very, very simple. These are very easy to make. I thought this would be like a 10-15 minute thing, and it is not. It took way longer than that. Matter of fact, the one I showed you the video at the beginning of this, that one took me like 2 days to make because it is at least 4 feet long. And in those 4 feet are about 5,000 double crochets. And I also did a row of trebles. And so there's a lot of stitches in that. I don't recommend making one that long because it took forever and I did not enjoy that yarn. But I made a smaller one. And this is more similar to the one she made in her tutorial. This does not have trebles. But, I don't know. Turned out cute. It's a black cat coming up my driveway. And this one is only about 2 feet. And I totally used a self-striping yarn. I think it looks cool. And it's actually 2 balls of self-striping yarn, and then I ran out, so I had to get some Premier Just yarn from the Dollar Tree. So you could make this with just all one color, like from the Dollar Tree yarn. Here, it's right here. The Just yarn from the Dollar Tree. You could just, $1, you could make these. And a lot of people are saying that they're going to sell these in the craft fairs. You can also make tassels for the bottom. I think the tassels are good because it weighs it down and it keeps it like straight down so that it will want to spin in the wind. But I hate making tassels, so I was thinking more of like crocheting like a crystal or a marble or something from the bottom, like the way a wind chime would have like a marble on it. But I think it's also heavy enough that it just kind of stays in this form, and it's supposed to spin like this. Let's see if we can get it to spin. Because there's no wind. There was no wind yesterday when I tried to do a video. Alright, you ready? Yeah, so it does that. I made one of those. And then while I had my scrap balls out, I decided to also make a baby bonnet. This is where Annie comes in. That's where Annie comes in. I made this hat. This hat is not for my sister. And the reason it's not is because this yarn is very pretty, but it is also scratchy, and I would not put this on a baby. But I wanted this to be a baby bonnet, so I made a baby bonnet. Now the way to do this style baby bonnet is you crochet in the round. You make a circle just about the circumference of the back of the baby's head. And then instead of keeping going in the round, you stop. And then you also stop increasing, and you just work back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I added, let's see if we can get it to, you're probably not going to be able to see that. There is a row of star stitch right here, just to add a little bit of detail. And then I added a little shell border. I just think that is so pretty. And then also, I added a couple rows to flatten the back out, because when you work in a circle like this and then you work back and forth like this, there's like this weird dip here. And so I just evened that out. I did like single crochets here. I did half doubles, 2 or 3 doubles, and then back to half doubles across the side here, just to make it flatter. And then I did a row of, I think, half doubles or singles right there across the bottom, just to keep it straight. But, yeah. So now she's got a new little bonnet. I want to go buy her a new outfit. Mr. Cinnamon, I asked him, I was laying in bed last night and I was working on this in bed. And I was like, I know this is going to sound stupid to you, because he's been teasing me about this baby. He's been teasing me about this baby a lot. He doesn't understand fully. I mean, he kind of understands now that I've explained it to him. He doesn't understand at all. So he teases me. He's telling me it's because I can't have any more babies. I've never been able to have babies anyway. Like, my babies came with severe struggles to get pregnant. So my children were both miracles. Lucas more so than Juju, because I literally had my ovaries removed except for a little sliver because I was covered in tumors. So Lucas was an absolute miracle. He came after my ovaries were removed. But I can't have babies. I struggled with infertility for 9 years before Lucas came along, and he was an absolute miracle, and I expected not to have a baby ever again. So maybe part of that is why I like holding this baby and cuddling this baby and all that, but he also thinks there's a little bit of jealousy because my sister's pregnant. I don't think that's it at all, but he teases me about that, which is a little bit hurtful, but I don't think he realizes he's being an idiot. But I like making baby stuff, and I don't, whatever. Who cares if I play with a doll? Right? Because she's cute. But I want to buy her an outfit. And I told him that in bed last night. I was like, I know it's going to sound crazy to you, but I kind of want to buy her a new outfit. He's all, I think you should. I was like, awesome. Maybe we should go baby shopping tomorrow. So she might have a new outfit very soon. I like old style. Like, I like old stuff. I like vintage baby clothes. In order to find those, you have to go to like certain thrift shops. But I love the, I forget what they call that, where it's like pinched up here. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's very popular in the south of this country. It's very popular. It's like got the little pinches, and then there's like usually a design here. I love that style clothes. But I think she's going to be like in a size newborn clothes. Or maybe preemie because she's really small. But I made her little bonnet, and I think that is the cutest. But yeah. I'm still just steadily waiting to find out what my sister is having, a boy or a girl. She's only, I think she's 14 weeks pregnant now. She might be 15 weeks pregnant. She's somewhere around there. So we still got about a month before we find out what the gender of the baby is going to be. When she was pregnant with baby girl, she had a blood test early on, and now like insurance is not wanting to cover the blood test to find out what the gender is unless there's some sort of other underlying health issues, which my sister totally has. But they're not sure when they're going to find out what the gender is, so I'm just waiting patiently so that I can use some of this cute baby yarn. By the way, I ordered some more from Premier. It is due in today. One of you guys emailed me and let me know Premier has this new baby yarn out. Well, it's not even baby yarn. It's got dots on it. It's called Premier Everyday Dots. It is so stinking cute, but I can't decide if I want to use the Bella, what did I say? Ciao Bella? Is that what it's called? Ciao Baby. I don't know if I want to use the Ciao Baby, close ring pen, the Ciao Baby or the new dots. I will wait. That will be determined when that comes in, because this is, I don't know if this is not anti-pilling. This is not the everyday line, but it's still really pretty. So I might end up using the dots instead. I still have not determined that because I don't know what the gender is and I don't know what her theme or any of that stuff is yet. So that will all be determined, but I'm really excited for that to come. So that is it for crochet. Let's move on. I know this is a long video, guys. Hopefully I can get it up today on Monday. I don't know if I showed you guys this hat, but I know that I uploaded it on the Instagram. Now keep in mind, this is a Halloween decoration. She is not an actual mannequin form. She lights up and goes, ooh. Yeah, so her name is Holly. I knit this hat. I got this yarn for my birthday from, I don't remember which one of them gave it to me. They gave me all of my gifts at one time, and none of them had tags on them. So I think my Yarnet was from Juju, technically, which I've been using the heck out of that thing. And then I got 2 balls of this yarn. Everything is like on the floor around me in boxes and containers. I got this yarn from maybe Juju. So it's the Impeccable Speckles. It's acrylic yarn. It's very basic. It's a thick number 4. This is how it works up. I enjoyed working with this yarn. I really did. But see how it covers her whole face? It fits my head. It fits my head. And then I got some of these leather tags, which the reason the leather tag is even on here is because I messed up right here. My stitch count was off for the first chain. And I did not feel like frogging because I've been doing a lot of frogging lately. A lot. So there was 4 knit stitches right here instead of 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl. There was 4 knit stitches there. So I'm like, screw it. I don't care. I'm making this hat. I just went about my business. I was like, nobody's going to even notice it. Anyway, it'll be on the back of my head. Who cares? I got some of these little faux leather tags, I think, with Knitcrate. I have also received some in Happy Mail, so I have like a stack of them, but I think these are the ones from Knitcrate. It says handmade, and there's a yarn ball. So I'm like, I'm going to put it on there, and it looks so cute. So now I want some actual leather ones with like CS on it for cinnamon stitches, because how cute would that be, right? So this is what it looks like on me. Obviously, it's big on Holly, because Holly's head is actually the size of a normal person. I think her head's like 18, 19 inches. So if I'm going to make something for baby girl, which is Paprika's daughter, which this is a headband I made, which I'll show you that in a minute. I measure it to this because she has the same size head as a 3-year-old who has the size head of an adult, because she has a big head. We have big heads in our family, apparently. So that's why it looks big on her. However, I got a couple comments on my last video where I showed a hat, and the comments were, you look so cute in hats. Oh, you look so cute in hats. And I was like, thank you. That's the first time in my life I've ever heard that, because I have a large head. I've always had a large head. Hats never fit me. And so I looked stupid because they would be so tight. They would be like pinching my brain off. And I'd get like real deep red lines on my forehead. All hats, like since the time I was very little, this has been an issue. And I also have really thick, I have a lot of hair, not as much as I used to. I used to have like 3 times the amount of this hair, but it's fallen out and broken from processing and dyeing. Anyway, I like this yarn. It was really fun to work with. I like the color effect because it reminds me of the Bloom yarn from Premier. Just because it has like the little flowery parts to it. I just think that's pretty. It is definitely the Impeccable line. I mean, it's not the softest yarn to work with, but it's a very basic value acrylic. But yeah, I knit that. And then What else did I knit? Right, this is a sew project and a knit project. I also showed this bag on my Instagram because I made this. I've been sewing a lot, and I'll show you some of the bags I've made. This is one of my favorites. This is mine. This is not going in the Etsy shop anytime ever. But this is my bag. But I do have more of this yarn to make some more of this size bag. And this is perfect for like all of the sock project is in here. But this is also, this is good for any small project. So it's got the handle, which the reason it has a handle is not because I planned it that way. But there was a little strip of this material left over after I cut the bag. And I was like, I'm not getting rid of this. I'm not throwing that out. And so I folded it with the intent of putting the handle on the side here. And I forgot to attach it while I was sewing the bag up. And I was like, screw it. We're going to put it up here. And it works. And it also has the drawstrings. It works good enough. You can hang it like this while it's drawstringed. Stays close. It hangs up just fine. I got a string I need to cut apparently. But yeah, and then the inside is this green stuff because I thought it kind of matched the grass. And inside here is a tangled mess. Let's see. Tangled. My needles have pierced through the yarn ball. I got this in Happy Mail and my glasses are tangled. My glasses are there because I can't see this yarn. It's so small. This is the Cozy Toes from Yarn Bee that I got in Happy Mail last week, and I immediately needed to make these into socks. So I put everything in here to make socks, and I'm just making vanilla socks. They have just started because this yarn is really, really small. It's actually sock yarn. This is going to take me a lot longer than the dorm socks, but how beautiful is this? Oh, them colors. This is the heel flap. Look at this. This is going to be such pretty socks. So I got the cuff so far. I have split for the heel flap. These are going to be so beautiful. These would even make really pretty mittens, or let's make sure I don't lose my stitches. Fingerless gloves. Right? Gorgeous. So that I'm working on socks. But this is going to be... These are going to take forever because that's just one sock. Then I got to come in and make a whole nother one. And as per usual, I don't follow the pattern 100%. So I got a notepad in there and I'm writing down what I do with the first sock so I can remember to do it with the second sock. So now let's move on to sewing, because sewing has been a lot easier for me to do because it takes very little concentration on my part. If I mess up on sewing, I can cut the bad part off and then just go back and sew over it. But I also don't care as much about sewing. Like, it doesn't, I don't know. It's just been easier mentally for me to sew. And I come in here and I put my headphones on, which are right here. I got these for, I think, Christmas, so that I could watch my yarn videos and not be disturbed. These are noise canceling. As a matter of fact, I can't even hear myself talk at this point. These are noise canceling. So I just put the music in there and I just sew at my machine, and it just is, it's been so nice. It's been so nice. It's been a break away from life. So I'm going to show you the bags that I have made. Some of these are going to go into the Etsy shop. Some of them are not good enough for the Etsy shop, and so they will probably stay here with me. But I'm going to show you guys these bags. I want you to understand, when these go in the Etsy shop at the end, hopefully at the end of the month, it might be the beginning of September because life's been crazy. They're not going to be real expensive because you guys know that I thrift my fabric, but also they're not perfect, and they're never going to be perfect. And I want you guys to understand that ahead of time. These are like, they are what they are, you know. They're meant for a project bag. They're not meant to be art and perfect and whatever. When my sewing machine broke, this bag was half done when my machine broke and I could not finish it. So first thing I did is I put this back in the machine and I finished it. This material I bought at Scrap RVA, and I thought it was just a yard of fabric or like a half a yard of fabric because it was a small cut. come to find out when I got it home, it's a pillowcase from Aeropostale. So it's a bougie pillowcase, but you know. So I thought it was so cute. Little cats and little stars. And some of the buttons I found at Reconsidered Goods matched, so I put a little cat on there. There's a little button. I sewed her on. And when I open these buttons, they don't have buttonholes on them. So I had to sew her on around her neck. So she's kind of noosed down there, but I think she's adorable. And she totally matches the aesthetic of the bag because of those giant whiskers. And then I picked this yellow fabric because it's kind of Halloween-y, and I wanted to go with the Halloween theme. Drawstring, and it's just a sack. It's not flat bottom or box bottom or any of that. It's just a sack. But this is big enough that it will fit like 2 or 3 like Red Heart Super Savers in here easily. So I have that one, but then I also had enough. I got thread everywhere. I had enough to make a second one. And you see, I don't measure my bags. So this one's actually smaller this way and longer. It's longer. It's narrower but longer because I use whatever pieces I have. I make the most out of the fabric that I have. I don't like little scraps, leftovers. I don't like waste. So I try to use as much of the fabric and cut it in a way so that all the fabric is getting used. So, and this one doesn't have a cat button on it. So this one's just a plain one. Still, again, it's got the yellow in there. Drawstring, sack style. Of course, I will let you guys know when I have the time to, because I have to photograph these, and listing stuff in Etsy takes forever. I just don't have the time for that right now. This one's not going to be in the shop. This one's mine. The big giant sack. And this one is boxed bottom. So you got the box bottom there. And the orange fabric on the inside. Drawstring. It's that beautiful Snoopy fabric that I was gifted for my birthday. That is one of my Halloween bags. I ain't heard the Christmas clock in a while. I had to put new batteries in it today, so that's what that is, the Christmas clock. I have 2 of these. One has... This fabric is actually on the inside of both of the bags. So it's like, these were meant to go together, these fabrics. They were in a quilt pack. So they were pre-cut fat quarters. So you see, the fabric on the inside is the green plaid. This is a springtime bag. I have not put the drawstring in this bag yet. But I chose to do the flower on the top part of this one, even though the plaid is on the inside. And all these bags are reversible. I don't know if you know that. They are 100% reversible. If you want the plaid on the outside instead, you just flip it and push your corners out. These are also not, they're double layer fabric, but I like my bags to be soft and squishy, so I don't put interlacing or anything on the inside. So this is what the other side of the bag looks like. Oh, dropping it. But that'll just be drawstring like this one when it's done. So, and these are exactly the same size because these are just fat quarters. Drawstring. I really like these. Really like those ones. And then I made 2 of these. This one is going to stay home with me, and I haven't drawstringed these yet either, because this one is a janky bag. This one is so janky. I put the blue border on the outside, but then I didn't realize I missed off my stitching a little bit on the inside, so it's not This is like the worst of the bags that I have made, I think. Yeah. See, I didn't. Come on. I missed my stitches there a little bit. So this is just going to be my bag. And this one will probably go in the shop. But I use, because like Stitch has the like red, white, and blue type theme, I just used fireworks for this. And then on the inside I put blue. And then this one, same thing. So just to give it a little, that's what I've been doing this week. I've been super, yeah, we're at an hour. I'm not even going to apologize. I knew it was going to be a long video. By the way, I picked the winner for the knit crate. I already contacted her. I will be sending that out sometime this week. I gotta wait. I have packages coming to the post office. I don't live close to the post office. It's like a drive to get to the post office. So, because I'm like out towards the rural side of town and the post office is in the city. And so I don't drive down there unless I have to. So I'm going to wait a couple days and get everything packaged up and then take that to the mailbox. I also have, I think I have something to send to my sister. But yeah. It's been a heck of a week. I am so surprised I got as much done as I could. These things are so popular right now. Go figure out how to make these. There's a lot of buzz in the yarn community right now about these little twirly things because people are like, oh, those are going to sell so good in the markets, you know, when you guys do like the little, I don't do crochet markets, but everybody's excited they want to sell these. But yeah, I recommend not using cotton. I recommend using a sturdy, stiff, a dense acrylic yarn, and weave in your ends when you're done, because I never seem to do that lately. This was almost one of them twirly things, but I was like, no, it needs to be a baby bonnet. All right, I'm going to be quiet now. I'm getting a little tired. I've been talking too long. I will let you go. For the rest of the week, I have August Knit Crate came, so we're going to show you that. Which I got June, July, and August all in within a 2-week span in the month of August, which is amazing. So happy about that. I have a couple of acquisitions to show you. I have some things to show you this week. Some of the stuff has not came in yet, but hopefully it'll be in by the end of the week and I can show that to you. So I think the rest of the week is just going to be fun stuff, showing you guys what I've purchased or what has come in or all of that stuff. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.